We are back with a follow-up episode on hard platinum alloy. Now in previous episodes, we've introduced a heat-treatable alloy by adding gallium to trade standard formulas like platinum copper and platinum ruthenium. And since then, we've been running a lot of tests because there's been a lot of questions, many valid questions coming in back from the trade. Mr. Chen, technical manager at Platinum Guild International China, has been running repeated tests. So first, does it cast well? How does it perform in terms of porosity? To this question, there's a good news and there's a bad news. The good news is, yeah, it casts pretty well. Given the advantageous increase in hardness to be able to cast at 170 plus Vickers as cast, this platinum alloy is not harder to work with than any standard trade alloys out there, like the platinum copper or the platinum Ru. And there's no indication that it has less fluidity, resulting in less fill, and there's definitely no evidence that adding the gallium would increase porosity. And we're only adding about 3% to the overall mix. You're getting the benefit of a much higher hardness, plus the ability to control hardness through heat treatment during the production process. The bad news is that adding the gallium does not improve porosity. Here we see platinum Ru gallium is not porosity free. Notice this ring with a heavy metal section at the top. We still see porosity at the surface as we normally would with platinum copper or platinum ruthenium. So there is no clear evidence of less porosity when gallium is added. Here we see platinum ruthenium gallium samples that were CNC'd after casting. Normally, one would expect huge amount of shrinkage porosity when CNC cuts into those subsurface of the platinum Ru alloy. Now in our testing, however, the CNC samples came out very clean. There's no sign of serious porosity in the subsurface area of the cast. The second most commonly asked question about this hard platinum is, how does the alloy perform when old metal is reused? And is there an increase in porosity in subsequent recast and reuse? To answer this question, Mr. Chen at PGIC did 10 repeated casting trials with the same metal, and it was casted with multiple designs to cover a range of geometries. The result is rather interesting. There was a certain imperfection to an unexpected perfect performance. To be very honest, we were expecting some levels of contamination and deterioration in performance in progressive reuse of the metal. There is porosity, especially on the surface of the heavy sections, but there is no evidence of an increase in porosity after 5 rounds of recast. Then our usual operator in the casting room took a day off and asked his assistant to do the recast. And on that 6th round of casting, something went very wrong. There was evident increase in porosity. Clearly, something was done differently in the casting process that resulted in a decline in quality. And our operator came back and casted on the 7th, on the 8th, on the 9th, and on the 10th round of the recast himself. To our surprise, the porosity stayed the same across the subsequent 4 rounds of repeated casting. Porosity did not intensify, but it also did not improve. Now it stayed just as bad as the 6th round all across. This is a great insight because if nothing went wrong, there is nothing to learn from. And in this case, porosity is clearly the result of inconsistency in the operation or handling of the casting process, not a problem originated from the metal itself. Platinum is the epitome. It's the most representative metal to what jewelry stands for. The strive for perfection, to be not afraid of taking on a more difficult metal to make something superior, something spectacular. The insistency and tenacity to seek out the greatest of challenges, and then to overcome it for the reasons of beauty, for truth, progress, advancement, or simply for the strive of excellence.